Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Good to Know Shreveport Bossier. This is a podcast. We showcase all the good, positive things happening around our community. My name is Jeff Blindfor. Over here is Mr. French Fry, Paul Reeser, member of the Committee of 100. Used to own like 300 or 400. What do you own? Sonic restaurants?
Sonic drive-ins.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard to keep track of what those are. Anyway, he's here today. He's our co-host. And every podcast we focus on topics and initiatives that do have positive impacts on the community. We have new episodes available every other Wednesday, and you can find Good to Know wherever you listen to your podcast. So, as always, and I almost hesitate to do this, but I will let you do the honors to introduce our special guest. You'll find out why, because his intros, before he gets around to your name, it's going to be 4 or 5 minutes from now.
Okay. Well, that's because it is my honor, and it's especially my honor today, Jeff, because we have an especially special guest.
An especially special?
That's right.
Wow. I'm going to have to check that out in the thesaurus.
You're going to love it.
I already love it.
Please do. Yeah, spell check me too. So she is the president and CEO of something we have that is rare in the world.
And what might that be?
It's the largest in the entire world, right here in the Shreveport area.
The entire world?
That's right. Are you excited to know what it is?
I think that's especially special. And
that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, what are you talking about?
So our guest today is the president and CEO of Chimp Haven, which is the largest chimpanzee sanctuary in the entire world, Jeff. Why is it here?
The world. Yes, why?
We're going to find out today.
It seems like it would be like Florida or something.
Something we should, I know, right?
Right, yeah.
But it's in Keithville.
It's in Keithville. That is
near
even
Shreveport.
Stranger. That's
well, we're going to find out why today.
And does this person have a name? I'm just curious.
She's president and CEO of Chimp Haven, Miss Rana Smith.
Yay, Rana! Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I'm sorry, we're completely out of time.
That was about half the time it normally takes you to get to a name.
Well, this is because it's especially special.
I heard that.
But thank you for coming out today. I know you're always busy covering the country, and but you're here today, so I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, so let's get right to it. Why is it here in Keithville?
Oh my goodness. Well, let me tell you a little bit. You need a little bit of background to know why we're in Keithville.
Yeah, I love background.
All right. So Chimp Haven is the world's largest chimpanzee sanctuary. And to understand why we're here, we have to go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
So chimpanzees have been used in biomedical research for decades. So if you think about it, like back in the 1950s, they were used in polio studies. 60s, they were used by the Air Force and NASA for the space program, and then got into infectious diseases. And
I certainly remember the space program part of it.
There you go. And then in the mid-'80s, the HIV and AIDS epidemic hit, right? And so scientists were clamoring for a cure for HIV and AIDS. And because we're so genetically similar to chimpanzees, they wanted to use chimps in their vaccine research, but there weren't enough chimps in research facilities. So the federal government, the National Institutes of Health, they set up these breeding centers and bred chimps for studies. And then if you fast forward 10 years later to the mid-90s, the scientists discovered that chimps were no longer a good model for research because you could infect them with HIV, but they wouldn't get full-blown AIDS like they do in a human. So it left what the government called surplus chimpanzees in labs. They were simply housed in research facilities. There were too many of them to use in experiments. And so we had a woman named Dr. Linda Brent, who was a behaviorist at one of the labs, and she thought, we could do better by these chimpanzees than, having them live the rest of their lives in these labs. So let's start a sanctuary. So Chimp Haven was actually founded in Texas, but they took off to find land for the sanctuary. Couldn't find anything suitable in East Texas, imagine that, or West Texas. Okay. And so all of a sudden they got a call from Caddo Parish, and Caddo Parish was building their Eddie D. Jones Nature Park, and they wanted a sanctuary out there. They thought it might be good to attract visitors to the park, and they had some land that they were willing to donate. So they ended up donating 200 acres in the nature park for Chimp Haven, and it was perfect. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of land, tall trees for the chimps, and that's how the sanctuary came about. So it's kind
of like by chance, right? All the ingredients came together.
I think the stars aligned on that one.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. And it's great for an area, because I was thinking, well, what does that mean to our area, And I thought, we were talking yesterday, and you said there's 68 employees, researchers that live there. It's unique. It brings a lot of people and scientific research to the area. And you were brought on board specifically to double the size of this sanctuary, right, about 7 years ago?
Yeah, so I started about 7 years ago. My background is in marketing and nonprofit management, fundraising. And at the time that I came on, there were still well over 100 chimps in research facilities in Texas and New Mexico that we wanted to bring to Chimp Haven. So we needed to launch a $20 million expansion campaign to really kind of double the size of the facility. So we did that. It was crazy time during COVID. It took a lot longer.
That's when it started?
We started in 2018 and finished like in 2022.
So right in the middle.
Yeah. But it's done. It's beautiful expansion, and we've got lots of chimps. We're now 300.
How many do you have right now?
We have about 300 chimpanzees.
300? Wow.
Yeah, they range in age from 7 to 64.
Really?
And they
64.
live. They do. We've got some golden oldies there.
How long do they normally live? I mean, what's an average? I guess?
Usually around mid 30s,
Okay.
40-ish.
My goodness.
Yeah,
But they're loving the Haven life, so they're going 64.
They love it. Yeah, we are very different from the early days. We've had our first 2 chimps arrived back in 2005, and now we've got almost 300 chimpanzees living in 30 different family groups. And they've got trees to climb. They have fresh, healthy diets, expert veterinary care, and lots of chimps to hang out with, which is super important.
Neat. So are you still bringing, I want to say a new supplier, are you still bringing new chimps in all the time, or how's that work?
Yeah, we've taken a little bit of a break. Our last chimps came in last year from a research facility in San Antonio, and now we were doing some facility upgrades and repairs, and now we're at the point where we're ready to welcome some new chimpanzees as well. So we're hoping that the National Institutes of Health will send us some additional chimps. But there's also a lot of chimpanzees in roadside zoos, or their pets that just got too big to handle, and those also need homes.
Well, I hear a lot, frequently, pardon me, Mr. French Fry, about people that, I don't want to say adopt, but they buy chimps or whatever for pets, and that doesn't work, right? That's not suitable.
That does not work out. They're super cute when they're little. When they get about 6, they're really hard to handle. We do have one chimpanzee named Henry that lives at the sanctuary, and he was actually rescued when he was 15 from a garage in Houston. And I think he was, his owner worked for like a plumbing company. And so when he was really little, he would ride around on a plumbing pickup truck, and it was sort of a gimmicky thing. But then he got really big, and, he lived in a garage in really, terrible conditions. And when they ended up, the owner went on vacation, a neighbor checked in on him, and ultimately Henry was taken away and made his way to Chimp Haven. He didn't even realize that he was a chimp.
Really?
And it took a really long time for him to socialize with other chimps because he'd only been around humans. And he had just some weird little quirks, behaviors, like you see a chimp like flip their lip. That's like not cool in terms of chimp language. So all of us little family members would be like, Henry, no, you don't do that kind of behavior, dude. And really kind of had to teach him. I had to teach him how to be a chimp. But now he's thriving at Chimp Haven. He lives in a social group with family members who, accept him for who he is and all of his little, quirks. Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. So, one, congratulations on fulfilling your job so quickly. I mean, a $20 million expansion in just a couple of years, that's remarkable.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's a lot of French fries, huh?
That is a lot of French fries, corn dogs, and double cheeseburgers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where do these funds come from?
Yeah. So we have a contract with the National Institutes of Health. So they own all of our chimpanzees at the sanctuary, right? And we're the only sanctuary by law that can receive and welcome chimpanzees owned by the federal government. Wow. So we've got that contract, and the NIH pays for about 66% of our budget. Our budget's around $8.7 million a year. And then we raise the rest through private supporters. So individuals, foundations from all over the country that have an interest in helping these chimps have an amazing retirement.
How much does it cost to run the facility on an annual basis?
Yeah, our annual budget is about $8.7 million, but it costs around $26,000 a year per chimp.
Per chimp.
Yeah,
I guess that's what I really meant.
Yeah, to take care of them. So yeah, that's a lot of bananas.
Sure.
There we go.
Is that the main part of the diet? I mean, you hear that. It's a cliche, I guess. But
Yes, yeah, they do. They eat a lot of fresh fruit and produce. Chimpanzee like protein biscuits, but the banana is, their number one.
That's it, huh?
High value item.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost contractual for chimps. You got to have the daily banana.
Or they're not coming.
Yeah, they're not coming. Exactly.
It's interesting you say that you get a lot of them that are from people's homes that are brought as pets. And there's a documentary called Chimp Crazy or something like that. Is that coming out or about to come out? Chimp Crazy.
Chimp Crazy.
I guess you're crazy if you want to get a chimp.
Yeah, you remember
Is that what it's referring to? You're crazy if you want to get a chimp, or you're crazy about chimps, or?
I think it refers to maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They call them in the documentary monkey moms that really have a deep love for chimps, but
Were you going to say Lion King a second ago?
Tiger King.
Tiger King. That's
yeah.
what it
Did
was.
you watch Tiger King?
I
or you
tried
heard
not
of
to.
it?
A teeny bit of it, but I really couldn't take it.
Yeah. This is made by the same director of Tiger King.
Lion King was the movie. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But the documentary is out on HBO Max. It just debuted. It's a 4-part, series, and it really does show why it's important not to own, these primates. So we're really hoping that it sheds a light on the American public and lets them know these animals, really need to be in accredited sanctuaries and other facilities, and not in private homes.
These chimps get really strong, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
So I think they're about 10 times stronger than a human.
Than a human,
Yeah.
I mean, they can hurt you without even knowing what they're doing, right? I mean, they just being a chimp.
They can hurt you. They're very unpredictable, and that's why we at the sanctuary we have like a no-touch policy.
Yeah.
But we can, interact with the chimpanzees. Our animal care staff do an amazing job. They can, do chimpanzee gestures and vocalizations. They all have names. They all come to us.
Did they respond to the name?
Yeah, they all know their names.
Okay.
They've had their names since, the research facility days. So we talk to them with their names. A lot of them are ticklish. They love to be tickled with long-handled, like wooden spoons. We can interact and play chase with them and stomp our feet and run. And we even have chimps that come to us from the labs that are pretty overweight, and so we have a chimpanzee exercise program where, the humans and the chimps can get a little exercise and do squats and run. And we have one chimp named Crystal who was definitely our biggest loser, and she lost about 40 pounds.
Wow,
and
good
really
for Crystal.
improved
That's a
her
good
health.
thing.
Yeah.
Biggest
No, I
loser,
get that.
weight loss. Yeah.
Yes.
I got that.
So we can't introduce them back to nature because a lot of them are born in captivity or they're used to living in the garage or whatever. So I guess this shows the importance of having a haven instead of putting them back. What are the dangers of taking them back, and what is their natural habitat?
Yeah, so they were raised in captivity primarily in the research facilities, and so they depend on humans for all of their basic needs. So, releasing them back into the wild just isn't an option, and they're also endangered and have, all kinds of dangers in the wild and habitat loss and things like that. That's why they're an endangered species. So we do our best, to give back to them. They've given so much to us, and even though research is now, illegal, there's no more research on chimps.
That was gonna go there next, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, but we do our best just to provide an amazing retirement from them in a really naturalistic setting. So, having the trees to climb, and the best enrichment for a chimp is another chimp. They're very social. But we also spend a lot of time just, giving them things to keep them mentally stimulated. They're incredibly intelligent, so they need, novelty items, food puzzles, games, activities, just to keep them, thriving.
Yeah, well, I thought so. There's no research done anymore on chimps, right?
No more invasive research since 2015.
Is invasive the key? Is there other types of research?
We do occasionally do what's called behavioral research, where you observe the chimp's behavior, and you can study things like how chimpanzees grieve when they have a group mate pass away, or how they use their space and their habitat. All different kinds of studies like that are all observational in nature, and then we publish manuscripts, present them at national conferences, share them with other sanctuaries that don't have the kind of staff support that we have at Chimp Haven, and it's all in the spirit of helping to improve their lives and their well-being.
But no more chimps at NIH labs or anything like that?
The chimps that are still in the research facilities are simply housed there, so there's no more invasive research, hepatitis studies, or HIV studies, any of that going on. That ended in 2015.
And so how many are still housed at NIH labs?
There's about 70 that
70.
are, and we're really hoping that the National Institutes of Health will send those chimps to us. There's been, a little bit of controversy. They've wanted to keep the chimps in the labs. They feel like they're, maybe too fragile or old to move. We've got a great plan in place. We've got Henry. We've got a lot of other chimpanzees that we've moved from research facilities, and we'd love to see them have their shot at sanctuary.
Well, why not? I mean, if they're not using them, they're truly not using them.
Right.
I don't get why they wouldn't want to release them to you.
Yeah.
We're I hear there's an opportunity every once in a while. You hear they're open to the public like twice a year. How does that work?
Yeah, we love to have visitors out twice a year on at events what we call Chimpanzee Discovery Days. And it's usually a Saturday morning from 9 until noon. The next Discovery Day is coming up on October 19th. And it's a great opportunity for families to come out. They can see the chimpanzees and have an opportunity to learn about how our veterinary staff, our behavior team, our husbandry team, feed the chimps, care for them.
Why just twice a year?
Well, as a sanctuary, we don't want to be open to a public. We're not a zoo facility, but we do think it's important, to bring the public out and to do education. We also have a number of other little events a year that individuals can go on our website and see, but it's all in the spirit of learning about the species and how they can help support chimpanzee conservation and well-being, across the country and worldwide. We welcome people to come out.
When they do come through, what kind of reactions do you get? Well, both ways. How do the people react to the chimps, and then vice versa?
Yeah, chimpanzees love Chimp Discovery Day because they come down in their habitats, and we usually have them baited with all kinds of goodies and bananas and trees and things like that. We want them to kind of stay in the public view, and they know that on those special days they're going to get lots and lots of extra treats, right? And then the general public, they find it fascinating. We've just got all kinds of interactive activities, hay rides, little chimp talks. It's just a great opportunity to learn all about the species and some of the incredible personalities that we have in our chimpanzees as well. Just a fun morning.
Now, there's a small admission because it's a fundraiser, I'm sure.
So it's $20 for adults, I think $10 for kids 4 to 12, and then under 4 is free. So it's a pretty reasonable price for just a fun morning.
When you have, I know we've done stories on it here on the news, but is there usually a pretty good crowd when you have one of these days? People kind of clamoring to get in there and see the chimps?
Yeah, we usually have maybe 800 people come out in the morning. So it is a busy morning. And this October is always fun too because we'll theme it for Halloween. So it's a chimp or treat.
Do they dress up now? Do the chimps dress up now? Come on.
The chimps aren't going to dress up, but the humans dress up in costumes and everybody has a good time. Yeah.
And there's over 200 acres, so I guess there's plenty of room for 800 people to spread out and
There is,
Doesn't
yep. They
feel
spread
crowded.
out. We've got 3 big, huge, multi-acre forested habitats, and they're surrounded by a water moat, and that's a natural barrier to keep the chimps on the habitat because they don't swim.
Yeah.
So all the crowds stand on one side of the moat, and they can look out at the chimps and see them play. And
So if by
interact and have fun.
chance a human came face to face with one of your chimps, is the human in danger?
I would say the human's in danger.
Okay.
Yes,
You said 10 times stronger than a person. I mean, that's like a superhero, but
Yeah.
possibly could be bad.
Well, I'm a Green Lantern fan, and he relies on willpower and a magic ring. So strength is not his thing.
yeah. We have lots of safety protocols at Chimp Haven to keep both the chimps and humans safe, for sure.
Well, I've been waiting for you to do your thing, but you haven't done it. So if people want to find out more about Chimp Haven and how do they, what's your info?
Yeah. So the best thing to do is to go to our website, which is chimphaven.org. We're also on all the social channels. So great little bits of educational information and lots of really fun stories about chimpanzees, and they can learn all about us and our upcoming events.
And it is a great website. You have several videos on there just showing how the chimpanzees are living out there. There's one from you greeting everybody, and it really is very informational. It shows when all the dates are and how to come and see everything. It's a
Absolutely.
nice website. So, but how are the Facebook pages and the Instagram? Can you kind of keep up with the chimps from day to day?
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people like our social feeds too. Yeah, lots of fun stories and videos and TikTok videos and so forth. So we welcome everybody on our social channels.
Can you adopt a chimp and help pay for their care or something like that?
You can, because of the cost of care is so great. We always welcome contributions, and individuals can sort of, adopt a chimpanzee, and we'll send them photos and updates of the chimps throughout the year that they symbolically adopt, and
Nice.
they love those relationships. Yeah.
There's hope for you. Someone might adopt you.
Jeff, I've been hoping for you to adopt me, man.
You keep hope.
Take
Hope
me
is
to Chimp
eternal.
Haven. Well, how did you? We have a few minutes. I should have started much earlier asking this, but
We
I'm
got
wondering.
5 minutes.
I know you live in Austin. You go back and forth and all over the country raising funds, I'm assuming. How in the
Yes.
world did you become the president and CEO of the largest chimp haven in the world?
Yeah, I mean, never did I ever think in a million years that I would be running the world's largest chimpanzee sanctuary. It's just one of those fluky things. But my background is primarily in companion animals. But when this position opened up and I heard about it, I had never heard of Chimp Haven. So I came out and took a look and met the team. We have an incredibly brilliant animal care team. I was a little nervous since I had never been around chimps, but was just assured that the team has got the chimpanzee experience. We need somebody who can handle the business side of things. So, it was just a natural fit, and certainly fell in love with the chimps. They work their way into your heart, very quickly as well. So,
When you go to do the $20 million fundraiser, where do you start? You say, hey, we got a bunch of chimps here. We need some money. What's the pitch?
yeah. The pitch was, please help us get these chimps out of the research facilities to this beautiful sanctuary. And we started with a $10 million lead gift from a couple in Chicago.
Really?
And
Wow.
then, from there.
That's helpful, right?
It is very helpful, very helpful. And from there, it was visiting all of our supporters on both coasts, coast to coast, and here in the Shreveport community as well. And, people really care about these animals and want to see them, have a nice retirement after everything that they've done for humans. So it resonates for a lot of people.
I'm just saying their retirement sounds a lot better than mine.
This is your retirement.
This is it. Yeah, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. So you generate interest coast to coast by your social media presence and online presence?
We do, and we're very fortunate too to have some just nice media coverage. You know, that storm that we had, that summer storm, not this summer, but the prior summer. Yeah, we had a lot of damage out at Chimp Haven, and we had the New York Times come out and do a story about how we train the chimps.
I think I remember that. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to train the chimps for the severe weather in the Shreveport area, both in the summer with tornadoes and windstorms, and then also in the winter with unexpected snow and ice. Those water moats will freeze, and we don't want chimps to escape, right? So we have to train them how to come in. It's called recall training, and the New York Times came out and they were pretty fascinated with how we do that, where, you know,
Interesting.
If chimps are out in the habitats, we'll use an audio cue like a bike horn or, you know, a cowbell, and we'll call the chimps in and do it within just a few minutes. But that's one way we keep them safe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't even think that things like that were a necessity, right, for a chimp, but I guess there's all kinds of stuff that
you got to think through a lot of contingencies, Jeff. We certainly, I guess, if the ice froze and they took off across.
I usually just yell when I want to call Paul.
You need more cowbell.
Yeah, you need more cowbells. We even have a deaf chimp named Sheena, and she can't hear the cowbell, right? So we have to hold up a pink Frisbee. And when she sees the pink Frisbee, she hightails it in.
Really?
And she knows that she's going to get lots of rewards and treats and all kinds of goodies when she comes in, but it's just one way to keep the chimps safe.
Well, it's really exciting that we have something like that here, and I definitely got to make it. Every year we say we're going to Discovery Day. Well, this year we're going to Discovery Day because I want to come check this out.
Do you have people like requesting, like, hey, can we come see all the time other than just your 2 Discovery Days? Or?
We do offer private tours.
Oh, you do?
As well.
Okay.
Yeah, and those are really great behind the scenes tours where, you know, you're not in a group of 800 people, right? Yeah. So that's an awesome way just to see behind the scenes and be able to interact with staff and really learn what it takes to run a sanctuary for 300 chimpanzees.
When you have a private request like that, like what's the most people that you'll take?
We usually like to keep the group size to around 8 or less.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, and we take them on golf carts, you know,
All right, well, wow.
And that information's on your website also. Is that be like businesses or different people? What would cause a person to take 8 of their closest friends to come for a private tour?
I mean, they just love chimps and have heard about Chimp Haven and want to see the sanctuary and how it operates. And then we also have occasional volunteer opportunities. Companies can come out, especially at Christmas time, because all the chimps received like wrapped presents as enrichment. And we need volunteer help to wrap presents for 300 chimpanzees. Right. So there's some great little one-time opportunities here and there to help make enrichment and do something fun for the chimps.
Oh, this all sounds like we're just about
very interesting
down to it here. So give your information or your website again, or however folks can get in touch with you.
Yep,
Chimp Haven at chimphaven.org.
Chimphaven.org.
Yes.
Pretty simple.
Very cool.
You could even figure that out.
That's right. I found it. I Googled it. If I found it, anyone can, I promise.
All right, that's going to Rana.
Yes.
I forgot your last name, Rana.
Smith.
Rana Smith. Well, pretty tough. Rana Smith from Chimp Haven, one of the hidden gems, I guess, around the architecture.
That's right, something good.
All right, just remember, this has been Good to Know. You can catch it wherever you check out your podcasts. Have a good one, everybody.